We are igniting the blockchain. Crypto woman here, otherwise known as Elizabeth, with James Godwin. And we are celebrating Ardor Days. James, it's nice to have you here with us.
And happy to be here, Elizabeth. Happy Ardor Days to you.
Yeah, nice greeting. Nice greeting. Yes. We should sort of like that, adopt that. Right?
For the next few days, yeah. It's a momentous thing to celebrate, and something that is worth celebrating. So yes, definitely.
Yes. So, James, you're relatively new to our community, is that right?
Yes, that's true. I've only been working with the project for the last 6 months or so.
Well, welcome to the project. We're glad to see how you jumped in with both feet.
Yeah, no, I have, it has been a truly, wonderful experience for me with a steep learning curve. I jumped in knowing absolutely nothing about the blockchain or crypto apart from like, oh, Bitcoin, that's a thing I'm aware of. I've heard of these things for a while, but yeah, jumped head in, and now I consider myself an expert, and I love spreading my passion and knowledge to others. Yes.
And you've been helping to do that. But before we get into that, why don't you help us get to know you a little bit better and tell us something about yourself?
Well, my story with the blockchain begins, with meeting my now best friend, Traven Keith, at the University of Washington in Seattle. We attended school there together at the same time, connected, and became great friends. And Traven got into the blockchain years ago. This is 2014. He got into the blockchain years ago, and he introduced me to it. And I remember my first introduction to the blockchain world as a whole, the crypto world as a whole, was a rather black mark day, which was the collapse of the Mt. Gox exchange. I remember visiting him at his place. He had a large client on his computer, and he's just casually talking about what Bitcoin is and what the crypto markets are. And I was kind of, okay, that's rather interesting. I just see very slowly the value of Bitcoin just constantly going down. And I don't really understand I don't understand the significance of this at the time, but pretty soon Traven just starts freaking out and just losing his mind as the value of Bitcoin continues to plummet. And it's just so funny to me that in hindsight, one of the most infamous days in crypto was the very first time I just happened to be in the room. But it's been a very interesting story since then. And then, that was my first exposure to crypto and blockchain, but that was not when I truly became involved. I became involved only 6 months ago when I was asked by Traven if I wanted to put my writing skills to use for the Nxter newsletter. I did not know them, but I was like, oh, I love to write. I remembered, the fun experience we had with Mt. Gox. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I'd love to reach out to these guys. And so people like Arthur and Traven, Jose, Ruben, and others, I got to know them, and they're like, hey, James, we have this newsletter. It talks about, the NXT blockchain and the Ardor blockchain, things I knew nothing of. And they asked me if they asked me if I would like to put my, writing and conversational abilities to use to create a better, more perfect newsletter, and I was attracted to the idea of, hey, I have the ability to frame the blockchain in a way that appeals to me and hopefully that appeals to others as well. So it's just like, oh, I'm trying to make something that is, this far away, distant, highfalutin technical concept, something that the average person can grasp and wrap their mind around. And it's like I've been framing the story, incorporating my humor, and it's been a learning experience for me and all of the Nxter audience. And we continue to grow, and I hear good feedback on my work. And as I've become more and more involved with Nxter, I've become more and more involved with Gellerita, and now I have a position of being an online marketer and content producer for Gellerita and Nxter. And I love it. It's great. I'm spreading my passion with the community. And trying to get them as excited about this as me.
Your influence is felt. Your writing skills are top notch. And for the people who are listening who aren't familiar with our community as much, our newcomers, James is talking about Nxter Magazine, started even in 2014. I think Arthur might have started.
It started, I believe, March of 2014. Yeah, it was, Arthur, our fearless founder in Denmark. Yeah, he got that ball going in March of 2014. It's been a while now. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is a top-notch magazine. If you're interested in current news that's going around in the community, it's Nxter, nxter.org. And it's a lot of archives there, a lot of good history, a a lot of nice pictures, a lot of good content.
Great content. Funny, informative, you'll learn a lot. Yes, we are the comprehensive place for news and analysis of the NXT, Ardor, and NXT blockchains. And it's out every Monday.
Consistently, which is a nice thing. So, so you're new, you've just jumped in, you've made some impressions. What's your favorite part?
My favorite part of working in this space is just the decentralized nature of the blockchain, and the trustless nature in it makes that it's exciting to me because we are allowed to do great things that we were not able to do so before, as in we're allowed to directly work with the people who are important to us. The blockchain's decentralized nature allows us to get rid of middlemen. For instance, I'm no fan of banks. Bank of America used to be my bank until they weren't, because they provided the absolute worst service you can ever possibly imagine for one of the world's largest banks. And that always bothered me. But as I grew and learned about the blockchain, it was just amazing to me. It's like, oh, wow, like the functionality of this ecosystem is such that I can directly interact with anyone I want, whether I be the client or whether I be the person seeking out help for projects. And I am able to pay them, they are able to pay me. And as the ecosystem continues to grow, as the platform continues to grow and get more decentralized applications, the functionality will only continue to grow. And soon, I am very excited, hopefully within like next couple years, to see this technology go mainstream and just be. I love the idea of being on the cutting edge of a technology that is truly disruptive and transformative. It's just something, it's just like, wow, I imagine this must be what computer programmers felt like in the late 80s or early 90s, when computing and software and PCs were just an abstract term that they knew at the time was going to transform the world and be very important. And they positioned themselves to be very wealthy and influential. And I feel the same for us. We are positioning ourselves to be very wealthy is not important, but definitely influential, and be in a position to educate and reach out to people who don't know what this technology is, but who should, at the very least, be reaping the benefits of it within the coming months and years.
That vision and that passion can just bite you once you get it, right?
No, it's just imagine that, like, you only get to work with the people you like. You don't have to trust, the bank. You don't have to trust a middleman. You just, the trustless nature of the blockchain means that you get to work with only the people you know. And it's just it is a revelation to me. It's just like, oh, wow, that's great. I don't have to suffer the inconveniences of, hours at a bank branch or waiting for someone to show up to deliver goods and services. I can directly send those goods and services instantaneously via the blockchain to whomever I'm trying to pay or be paid from. It is beyond convenient and beyond, the future to me. It's just like, oh my God, thank you, it's here. The future.
Yes, and it expands our world too. One of the aspects of it that I love is the cross-border aspect of it. It crosses the geopolitical boundaries, language boundaries, cultural boundaries, and it makes the world more wide open and all at the same time. Even a little smaller, because we're part of that.
Oh, it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned that, because with Nxter, I am an American. My Arthur, our head editor, he's, in Denmark. Jose and Ruben are in Spain. I work in a close connection with, the Jalarita team in Israel and Switzerland. This truly is a decentralized, environment, and it is amazing to be able to coordinate with you, with Lior in Israel, with, everyone across the world. And it's just like, wow, it kind of sucks that we're not all co-located in the same room, but at the same time, it's fun because, like, wow, we all choose to be here. This is our passion. We're not forced to be, in the same room together. We choose to get on these screens, like you and I are right now, and talk. And it's just like, hey, it's a bonding experience. It's great.
We've got to organize a party, a summit. I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. And
that would be great. That would be momentous, because I'm pretty sure, I guarantee you that all of Nxter has never been in the same room together, let alone, the people at Jalarita or, the A&G. I mean, like, getting all three of these groups together at one place would be great, because it would be...
It'll have to be a multiple day event because you have so much to catch up with FaceTime. I mean, there's a lot that you can actually learn about somebody when you work with them on a project, even if you're doing it screen time. But there is still something about the face-to-face thing. So
yeah, just that, the human connection, if you will. It's a little less abstract. The ability to like, shake that person's hand. It's just like it goes a little farther. But I mean, for what it's worth, screen times like this, just as good in this day and age. This is the 21st century, truly. This is a decentralized age.
It is, and it is exciting to have you be part of it with your
Thank you.
Do you have any exciting projects you're working on right now?
Right now, I have my hands in many nefarious pies, if you will. But the most exciting one I'm working on, and the most time-consuming, is the ability is condensing all the disparate fragments of knowledge when it comes to Nxter and Ardor into one cohesive source. A source of frustration for me and for much of the community has been how it can be relatively difficult on occasion to find one go-to source for all the information you could possibly want with NXT and Ardor, and soon with Ignis and all that. It's just like the information is out there. There are individuals like myself who possess most, if not all, the knowledge needed to solve a given issue, but I can't be reached all the time. And things like the Next Wiki are a constant work in progress. We have great content at nextforum.org. We have great content, at Gellerita. We have great content with ANG, but it's just, there is no go-to source for everything. And I am working very hard with many other people to at least tie everything together as much as possible with a nice bow that points you up, that allows for people to know exactly what they need to know when they need to know.
So it would be an entry place into the information about that.
Yes. Most of I am not a core developer like Leora, so I will never be able to answer the most technical questions, but I am able to, get people started, to explain, how the blockchain works, why it's important. I can do all that. The literature that we have across, all the networks and all the platforms is great, but sometimes it borders on the esoteric. It leaves a lot to be desired for being able to engage with the common person who is not already an expert. And I feel that is the mistake with much of the literature we have. It kind of assumes you already are an expert to be able to understand and comprehend what it is saying. And it's just like, that's a huge mistake. So working very closely with other people right now to make that a reality. And hopefully, in the coming, weeks and months, we'll be able to slowly put out new content, refresh what is out there, give it a better tone, make it more friendly and approachable so that the average person can more easily get into this. Because the barrier to entry right now is the technical complexity with setting up things like the NRS client to understand the nuances of what a wallet is, how to transfer coins from wallet A to wallet B. These are things that everyone has had to suffer with and deal with. And it's kind of like a trial by fire, if you will, Elizabeth, because it's just, you have to really, really be dedicated and determined to break into this, which I feel should not be the case. This needs to be made much easier, and I'm working very hard to make that so.
Well, you have an advantage here as a relative newcomer in the space, because maybe you've realized this with the guys that you're hanging out with at Nxter. The people who are around for a long time, who used to have to install the client with command line on their computers, who didn't have the wiki, the ones who wrote the wiki, to some of us, it seems, or we can get caught up in the perception that we've made it so much easier because, wow, we know where to look, boom, push that button, there's your client. But we forget sometimes, because sometimes the project's too close to us, that maybe there is still a barrier to the, or even if we recognize it, it does take that time and those skills of a content writer or somebody. And so with a new user advantage coming in and the ability to break it down quickly and learn it, and then regurgitate it in a way that's friendly and easy to understand is a great skill that you bring. And I
thank you. I appreciate that. And I definitely acknowledge what you say to be true, because just this holiday season, I've had many friends and family, like they know what I do casually, but I've had the opportunity to, I'm sure you've had this too, but it's like, oh, James, you know, oh, Elizabeth, what's this blockchain thing? You know, how does it work? And it's just like, oh, it's an interesting intellectual challenge to abstract away as much as possible to give them just the core information that is needed to understand how and what, like what the blockchain is, what NXT is, what Ardor is, how we're different, how we're better than Bitcoin, how we're better than Ether and Ethereum. And these are fun challenges that, you know, the average person just simply doesn't know or doesn't appreciate yet, and it's my job to enlighten them. You know.
Yeah, well, messaging is an important job, and it definitely there's some space to work here in our community in that area. So
yes, definitely. It is a problem, and I love to solve problems. So, you know, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, you're right. I have these conversations with people too, and you know, you watch your eyes glaze over. So then you go again and you start breaking it down again, and you look at that spark in their eyes and say, "Oh yeah, I got it."
When you engage with someone, you get to that, you know, that special connection where they truly, like, you know, they get it, whatever it is that they're getting. When it's a special moment. It's like, yeah, you know, you've done in that moment your job, and you have converted another person to the blockchain, if you will, and suddenly they went from, you know, being someone completely ignorant to this amazing transformative technology that will make their lives easier, to someone who is just like, wow, I get it. This is great.
Yeah. So that's a reward, isn't it? I'm sure for you as
of course, yeah, of course. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy, you know, teaching people. If I didn't enjoy reaching out to them and explaining this to them, sharing my passion with you, sharing my passion with our audience, you know, across the world. It's amazing.
Well, good. So you have to be you have to have some outlook for the future with this new passion that you have. What are your hopes and expectations for the future with either our project or with blockchain in general?
Well, I hope that my vision and what I'm working for and towards with, you know, Nxter, with Ardor, with you at ANG, is for making this technology become truly mainstream. My vision is having self-contained ecosystems in the future. You know, the Bitcoin blockchain is great. It's great for its own specific use cases. The Ethereum blockchain is great for its own specific uses. The Ardor blockchain is great for its own specific use cases. All these blockchains are great, but they solve a specific problem. There is no one-size-fits-all solution across the blockchain. But my vision is that the Ardor blockchain will continue to grow, and as more people become aware of it, as more people develop decentralized applications for it, it will become a truly inclusive and immersive ecosystem, kind of sort of like what the Apple, you know, the App Store is, or the Play Store is with Google. But like, you know, that's a terrible example, because that's such a very limited subset of things you can do. Whereas with the blockchain, the Ardor blockchain, I envision a future whereby you can collaborate with people across the world. You can reach out to and be paid. You can reach out and pay and accept the services from, you know, skilled lawyers, skilled content writers, skilled producers, get almost any service you want, and never have to convert, you know, your dollars, your euros, or your yen or whatever into a cryptocurrency. You just have Ardor tokens, and you are freely exchanging them via the pegged value to, you know, the child chains in the system. And I envision a system whereby the blockchain is a place that you go in and you don't have to leave. The convenience you have inside of the blockchain will be something that will be just, I feel, the wave of the future. Like, you're either going to get involved in the Ardor blockchain and just like, wow, I can deal with Ardor and child chains and work with people across the world, pay them with the technology, or pay them with our tokens, or, you know, hire, you know, a lawyer in Switzerland, pay him with, you know, an Ardor child chain that, you know, is just for legal services. And instantly I'm paying and communicating with people in a very secure and trustless fashion. Like, that is what is exciting to me. I envision the same thing with Ethereum and Ether. I envision the same thing with, you know, Bitcoin and their blockchain and any other blockchain that's up and coming too. I mean, Ardor is great. I believe we are the most scalable, the most easy to deploy, the most business ready. That's what's just exciting to me, is that businesses should, in my opinion, adopt Ardor. But the blockchain growth of the blockchain is great in general. It doesn't matter what blockchain it is, all of them are going to grow, and we're going to see in the future a series of ecosystems that will be compatible with each other. But once you're in, you will suffer the convenience of, wow, like I can do all these things so easily, so conveniently. But it's just like that is my hope, my vision for the future. And I believe that is what Ardor will be in the coming 5 years. Like I'm working very hard to make that happen.
Yes, you are. And that those child chains, excuse me, those child chains that we're introducing here are part of what's helping us develop that ecosystem. Talk about it that way. Take a drink of water. Excuse me. So yeah, so those the child chains will help us to develop that ecosystem, and those special lives places within that blockchain to interact from and exchange.
Oh yeah, that is the vision of Leeward. I mean, like I have not seen. I am an expert with NXT and Ardor, but I'm studying closely, all the other blockchains out there. And no other technology comes close to replicating the functionality of the parent-child chain architecture that exists within Ardor. It truly is revolutionary, and the problems it solves, like Ardor was built to solve things like the blockchain bloat problem. It was built to be scalable. It was built to be easy to deploy. It was built so that people do not have to worry about security. With the smart, transactions we have, you can easily implement a smart contract and not have to worry about things like what you do in Ethereum, whereby if you get to put a specific function in, your money just goes into a black hole that can never be recovered again. Like, we're abstracting away complexity so the average person, the average business can easily deploy, develop, and use and immediately reap the benefits of using the blockchain.
Well, I'm glad you shared your vision with us, because even though we did put our resources and our talents towards solving those problems of scalability and bloat, and we do have the advantages and the benefits, the gifts of that wonderful potential of those contained ecosystems.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing that picture with us and reminding.
Oh, thank you. I hope it was I hope our audience enjoyed it.
I think so. I enjoyed it.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. So you're a relative newcomer to cryptocurrency. You jumped in, and like all of us, you probably learned some lessons the hard way and gleaned some wisdom. You want to share some of your wisdom with the newcomers, because we're collecting a lot of them.
Yeah, well, yes, we are, and that is good. My wisdom is that just, bear with us right now. There are some frustrations. This technology is still new, and it is unfortunately frustratingly difficult for people to actually buy and get their hands on NXT right now, especially if you're in the US. You have to suffer the terrible inconvenience of working with essentially only Coinbase, as I'm sure most everyone here can testify. That is a terrible user experience. Please, like the future in my opinion is that, third-party cryptocurrencies need not exist. That is a growing pain right now. I believe in the future, the next blockchain platform, the Ardor platform, they will have that functionality built in, allowing for easy entry and easy withdrawal of funds, necessitating that these third-party exchanges need not exist. It is a growing pain. It is a transition period. In the coming months and years, we will see the reliance of our technology, our platform, on these third-party exchanges wane, and if not completely disappear. So just know that it can be frustratingly difficult to actually convert your hard-earned euros, your hard-earned dollars into amazing NXT, amazing Ardor, amazing Ignis tokens. But suffer through, persevere, and then once you get it, you'll be happy. You'll be great and ready to go for the rest of your life. But it is unfortunately difficult and frustrating. It's not something that you can think, it's like, oh, I'm going to go down to the store and buy me some Bitcoin or buy me some NXT. No, not quite. You have to suffer very high transaction fees, exchanges like, Coinbase taking a week to 8 business days to, post your transaction. Then you might have to exchange, from one currency to another at a different exchange and then move it to a different wallet. It's beyond frustrating at this time. And my advice to our, our audience, our newcomers, is that just know it can be a little difficult, but it's worth it. It'll take a couple days, but definitely worth it.
It's nice when a wise word is also an encouraging word. So yeah, I think you break it all down, you're just saying, hang in there.
Yeah, yes, definitely hang in there. It will be much easier. Like people like me, like I know people whose vision is to make this process so much easier using like a dollar pain check or the child chain or a euro peg child chain is the beginning of making this process so much easier. The ability to withdraw funds and the ability to, put funds into the blockchain is probably the single weakest point of failure or the biggest point of failure in the system right now. But I know people are working
on it. Biggest point of failure. Why don't we just say it's the biggest place of opportunity? Right?
The place where the biggest growth is present. Yes. So, okay.
Well, it's wonderful, James. I look forward to working with you.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, I too.
Message. We're gonna have an awesome year.
Oh, for sure. Like this is, Ardor hasn't even launched yet. And, so we have that to look forward to. We have Ardor Days to look forward to right now. I mean, like it's going to be an amazing, amazing year. I think that it could be the year of the blockchain and that we at, NXT and Ardor, we are positioning ourselves well to be, thought leaders, to be experts. And I want to use our position of power to spread the word and to just be a guiding beacon of light and hope for this amazing future.
Well, thank you for taking time out of your holiday to join us and share with some of the ways about which you were doing that.
Okay, well, of course. Well, thank you. I mean, it's good to, put a face to, the people, on our team so the public can get to know us and get to interact with us because we are not just some, basement dwellers, who have no social lives or who have nothing to contribute, We are people who are professionals, contributing our time to this platform, this technology, and we share a passion and it should be shared with others. People need to see it.
Isn't it fun to see some of these faces come out and hear?
It really is. It really is. Yeah.
Words, their contributions and their visions for the future. So.
It definitely is.
Again, thanks for sharing, and we will sign off now.
Yes. Bye.
Yep. Bye, James.
Happy Ardor Days, Elizabeth.
Yeah, you too. Thanks.